Like, my head hurts.
Yeah, no, that was ridiculous.
I have not laughed that hard in a long time.
Yeah, I think I'm still recovering myself. Chris
Chris is unfazed.
Yeah, he's just.
This is how I ride roller coasters too.
I believe that actually.
Yeah,
He just
doesn't. You're that guy in the photo.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah. Everybody knows what I'm talking about, but like the unfazed, like
Yeah.
all the time.
all the time.
With that being said, guys, welcome back to another episode of What You Take, the show where we talk about just about anything we can possibly think of and bring you guys along for our unfiltered, unapologetic ride. As always, you are going to have myself here, Steve, my brother Chris,
Hey yo.
and Sexy Spence.
Oh, hello there.
Oh, hello.
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 I think the crazy is when I spun out on the highway, I just laughed a lot.
That's actually pretty common,
Yeah.
though. That's like one of those weird.
Yeah. The girl I was with did not think it was okay.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because I was full losing my mind.
You know, to be fair, on the outside perspective, I can see that. Yeah.
we were,
Like, you know.
we were like that in the fucking culvert between the highways.
Like one of those weird coping mechanisms. He just starts laughing hysterically.
You're just in your seat with the steering wheel sliding down the highway. Just calm.
Yeah, as soon as it stopped moving is when I started laughing.
Well, no, it's always like, it does kind of go down to one of those, like, I guess you kind of like freeze up almost, like you don't have a reaction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
But the laughing would be kind of haunting. So, don't wanna...
Hey, Chris,
Yeah.
talk to me about Dubby.
It's pretty good. Tastes good. This Galaxy Grenade brand flavor that we got here. Dubby is a nice clean energy. It gets you slowly into a state of alertness and then slowly back out of it as you come down. No hard crashes like our caffeine-addled producer here and all of his coffee. But yeah, no, just a good, solid drink that helps power the podcast and, most importantly, power me. You know, I need to be awake and alert for this kind of shit so these guys don't call me sleepy. And
We will.
yeah, they do. They roast me relentlessly. But Dubby is just a great clean energy brand. You can go to dubby.gg and use our promo code WhatYouTake10, get 10% off your order. You will want to get one of these little shaker balls or if you have a blender at home, but it just goes in straight like Crystal Light. Blend it up, shake it up, drink it down, and be alert for a nice 8-9 hours.
Where do you come up with this shit?
Where do I come up with this shit?
How many infomercials do you watch at night?
That is a previous life of yours, I swear.
Well, you know, it's... I don't know.
Billy Mays, is that you?
This...
No, Billy Mays is out cleaning up the Middle East.
Yeah.
Wow.
Did you see that picture of him? There was a picture circulating a couple years ago of an operator out in the Middle East that looked exactly like
That
Billy
is-
Mays.
Oh, I
haunting.
did see that.
There was a meme going around that said Billy Mays is oxy-cleaning the Middle East.
Wow.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie, OxyClean still works.
Oh,
Like, that
yeah.
thing is a top-notch product.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
I've got an interesting topic I wanted to bring up to you guys here. And Spence, you had mentioned Neuralink a little bit ago here,
Yeah.
and that kind of sent my brain into this little bit of a tangent here. So, you guys have seen the videos, the pictures, and everything revolving Tesla and their Cybertruck, yes?
Yes.
Okay, and how it's got supposedly the bulletproof frame to it, it's got the shatterproof glass. So it's been very, very popular for a ton of influencers and a lot of Tesla owners who are getting the Cybertruck to just put that fucking thing out in the field and just light it up. Right? And they're like, I'm going to test this bulletproof theory. Okay.
Yeah.
There is a Tesla engineer that has now gone out in statements saying, please, for the love of God, stop shooting your fucking Cybertruck. And it begs the question for me, as a marketing person, is like, will you advertise the fucking thing to be bulletproof? Why are you asking people not to shoot it and not to test the theory? Because if you're going to sit there and you're going to tell me that something's bulletproof, the first thing that's coming into my head is I want to fucking try it.
I think the thing is that it's bulletproof in that the person inside will be safe, but you're still going to fuck up your truck.
I think that's the point. As a person, if I was selling a product that was bulletproof, if they're going to shoot that bitch up, they're going to buy another one.
Right, that's the thing is like like it may not penetrate to the cabin where the driver is, but it's not like it's Juggernaut where it's just going to slip off the side.
No, but that's exactly what it does.
Oh.
It's not penetrating. That's the bulletproofness of it.
Oh.
They're not entering the shell.
Oh.
Now, I wouldn't doubt if the frame is extremely expensive.
Or it
and-
gets dented really bad.
Oh, it gets dented like a motherfucker.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. But that's
That's what I'm getting at. If I'm selling a product like that, shoot the shit out of it and wreck it, whatever. But
I'm not paying for the repairs on that. That's not on your warranty.
right, exactly.
No, but I mean, that's the other thing, too. And then Tesla had also released a video of some of the testers going out and Tommy gunning the fucking thing. So it's like you release a video of you shooting the fucking truck. On stage, Musk throws a baseball at the window.
Right.
Like, you are advertising this as one of its prime features to being so indestructible. And now you are trying to tell people to stop testing the indestructibility to it.
Right.
Like, that just seems really weird to me.
Yeah, it kind of makes me feel like it's not as indestructible as they're promising.
Or if it is, I mean, again, is it just that expensive to make a new one when people want to get it fixed or buy another one that now you can't keep up with the fucking demand?
Now, see, that would be the thing. But as a company, I would prefer high demand. So if you want to buy something, break it,
Right,
and then pay me to fix it,
right.
kind of seems like a fun thing.
That's where I am with it. But I
Yeah.
just found it really interesting that like Tesla officials are saying like, please, for the love of God, stop shooting your fucking car. Well, don't advertise that it's bulletproof then.
You know, maybe it'll be like the bad PR thing, though. Because, like, remember that lady that got stuck in that Tesla at the lake?
Which one?
She was that billionaire. She recently drowned. I forgot her name.
I didn't hear about this.
Oh, yeah, no, she apparently, so.
Did Hal drive her into a lake?
No, actually, it turned out she was drunk and drove into a lake in her Tesla. And I forgot which, it was like the Tesla X, I think, or something like that.
Okay.
And apparently the way the window was designed is that they couldn't break it underwater. Like, no one could. Like, at all. Like, the rescue team came in and they couldn't break it. They actually had to pull it out.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's how tough this glass was.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, unfortunately she drowned, but
I wonder if it was the X, it might have been the top panel, in which case, yeah, that is a particularly reinforced piece of glass because it is not most vehicles.
yeah.
You have your windshield, and then if you do have some glass on the roof, you have a beam right here, and then your
Yeah.
next pane of glass happens.
Yeah.
With the Model X
all
specifically,
one, isn't it?
it's one that goes through. So it's a more reinforced piece of glass to handle the support for it,
Yeah.
and then heaven forbid if the vehicle were ever to roll, good luck because that thing weighs $1.5 billion
Yeah,
fucking pounds.
yeah.
But so that might be why they
It was
wouldn't have been able to get in.
Yeah, I'm not sure 100% on the details. I just remember they weren't able to break it. And like I said, they actually had to pull it up and like open it in order to like get her out.
Jeez.
It was out. And the thing that's wild is it took hours.
Oh, I believe it.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, it was really fucking wild.
So then that brings me into my next thing regarding kind of the Tesla world, more
Yeah.
specifically Musk. So I don't know how old this information is, but I just recently came across it. So we know Musk is obviously involved with Tesla.
Yep.
We know that he has SpaceX and all of that fun jazz there.
Yeah.
We know that he's got Neuralink going on. He's got the boring tunnel for his underground tunnels that he's working on for faster
How are
underground
those
commute.
going? Because I know when they first came out, they had some hiccups, but then I understand that shit was getting fixed.
I haven't heard any recent updates about
Yeah.
it, but that one's really unique because it's very localized to where the project is. This one isn't
Right.
global scale yet or anything like that.
Right. It's like a trial run in Vegas.
I think it is the West Coast.
Yeah.
It's either the West Coast or the East Coast, but there's only a handful of them going on from what I understand.
Yeah.
Right. The other one apparently, ever since this war with Russia and Ukraine kicked off, is
There is a rumor.
Musk has partnered with Germany and has helped to create a tank. It's more of an
I
anti-personnel.
have not heard this.
It's
What?
more of an anti-personnel vehicle that doesn't have like tank rounds, but I think it's a 30 millimeter cannon, no 3 millimeter. It's got a machine gun on the top of it.
Yeah.
That would normally be the tank like turret.
Yeah.
But it's fully electric, as one would expect with Musk.
Yeah.
So it's quiet. There's no transition.
Reminds me of like Red Alert 2 where they had those electrical Tesla coil tanks. And
Yeah.
I'm like, please make one.
No, it's here. It's quiet. It's fast. But like he's now in this world as well. And
Yeah.
it begs the question of if he's starting to dabble in that, because like we said beforehand, all that the war means is that now private business is going to come in and start seeing where they can be applied. So how long until Musk starts really getting involved when it comes to these wars? We've got a tank now.
I mean, there's a whole TikTok series on it, but that's like Maytag making helicopters and shit like that. Like,
Subaru
it's not,
has helicopters.
yeah, you know what I'm talking about? Like,
I was just looking that up.
all of the super big companies have some arm, leg, or dick in the war industry.
Right.
Like,
Oh, yeah, like-
I could see that it would be an interesting and new direction for Musk, but as far as like the world goes, it's like that's what a lot of companies do anyway, so I can't say I'm super shocked.
The interesting part that appeals to me as far as Musk goes is because everything the guy seems to fucking touch, regardless of whether people like it or not, he starts to revolutionize something. Right? He has said before, Tesla may not always be the number one leader in electric vehicles for one.
Well, that's why he opened the patent, isn't it?
Yes, that is exactly what he's like. We need the other companies to get on board with this and then surpass. Because I'm not like, there are things that I have seen GM do, for example, with their electric vehicles that far surpass what Tesla does.
Yeah,
their Hummer has the fucking crab walk, for crying out loud. Right. But so my curiosity is, if he's starting to dip into the military industry now, is what is he going to do to that industry that's going to become a really big problem for...
Well, I think the fact that it was like an electric anti-personnel thing.
Like, I think that's what I think Musk, if anything, in the military sector will probably work on power sources or alternative ways to power machinery or better batteries, more efficient machinery. I don't think Musk, especially with how leery Musk is of AI as in general, I don't think we're going to see Musk cranking out like Terminators or anything like that.
Oh no, I don't think he'd touch anything like that, but like this tank anti-personnel vehicle, whatever the hell it's technically going to be classified as, by simply making it electric, you've now have more room to either put more armor on it or to hold more ammunition.
Yep.
It can go faster, it can be quieter. But so like, you even just look at something like that, right? Tanks are big and fucking loud, right? Now you've got a quiet tank. Can you now maybe bring a tank or a bigger vehicle in a place that you couldn't bring a bigger vehicle before?
Yep.
How does that now change your military operations?
Yeah.
Like
that
like ripple
40
effect.
tanks rolling through a woods and just coming into a field. Yeah. But no, like, okay, back to it though. Like, the thing that's kind of interesting about that though is like, it's an all electric, and I hate to say it. I know some people fight me on it, but hey, guess what? The world's going electric. Yeah. So how long? It's interesting to finally see military vehicles going that route as well.
Right.
And let's face it, Musk has his hand in electrical vehicles.
Yeah.
But like you said too, Chris, most motor companies generally have a hand in
some military
aspect.
Yeah.
Like Subaru and attack helicopters. And I also think they made kamikaze planes. GM's got a ton of shit.
GM pumps out plane engines like no one's. I think it's GM.
Yeah.
No, GE.
Oh, GE. Yeah.
GE pumps out fucking aviation engines like it's no one's business.
Yeah. Like everybody's got some kind of weird subcontract.
I always find the ones where like Lamborghini has like this certain model of tank. And I'm like, you just made one? One type? He's just like, let's get into tanks. And that was it.
Yeah. I mean...
But no, back to like the Musk thing. It is kind of interesting though, watching like electric tanks, because it's like, what does that all involve? Like, you know, the batteries are the vulnerable part. So how do you secure them? How do you make sure they don't overheat? Or
yeah, especially against mines too, because you could start a really bad fucking chain reaction.
Like a lithium. Oh my god,
yeah.
That would fuck an entire cabin. So you have to make sure. I don't know. I just feel like that'd be a very difficult challenge now.
But then you start looking at things like. So we'll say you figure out that problem. But now if you've got a battery source that can pump out more than maybe what a traditional tank or vehicle would have, what kind of new exciting toys can you now equip the tank with?
See, that's the other thing.
Because like, we're talking 2024 right now, laser weapons are going to become a more common thing that we're going to see. Directed energy weapons.
Oh, dude, they're already starting.
How much more common is it going to be to see those equipped onto things like tanks and whatnot?
Right.
If you've got a whole bed of a tank that is now batteries.
Guys,
instead of just
Star Trek's happening.
That's just the bugs.
But
like that to me, that's like, this is the first drop of a ripple to really get that going.
Well, I guess that's kind of what I'm trying to say is like, dude, this is like new age shit. It's very difficult to do. It's like new problems or need new solutions. And
right.
It does suck. A lot of people don't seem to see it and they actually shit on them. But it's like, what plan worked immediately?
Right.
Like, look at Edison, even though we all know he didn't invent the light bulb, but, like, I learned 1,000 ways not to make a light bulb, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So, I don't know. That's just what I'm getting at.
Well, and not to be a pessimist or, like, a cynic or whatever you want to call me, but, like, especially when you're making weapons, it's not hard to kill people. Like,
well, no.
Yeah, like, it's more about,
I'm going to make a laser beam that's going to cut you in half.
Well, it's
science.
It's that human beings are inherently fragile creatures, whether or not we like to admit it. But it's also one of those things where it's like, you're not really creating a new way to kill somebody. You're generally creating like a delivery system or like making it more portable or making it go farther than what we already have, because we've already more or less kind of like
mastered the how of the killing.
exactly.
Yeah.
Now it's just
It's the delivery method.
exactly. I don't think we're gonna see a new weapon for quite a long time.
No, and I mean that's fair. 'Cause, I mean, again, we've seen the lasers, we've seen the bullets, we've seen chopping people in half and burning them. It's just now, how can we do it faster? How can we do it quieter? How can we do it from farther away?
How can we use less energy to kill people?
So that
How can we kill people lazily?
right. How can we spend less energy to hurt more people so that we can? How can we spend less energy hurting people so that we can hurt more people?
Right.
Well, it also comes down to just supply chain shit too. Maybe the batteries are easier to transport than
Is
a
it
barrel
cheaper?
of oil.
Right.
I mean, a tank, dude. Think of how much fuel you need to get a tank going.
Well, and
If
then
you can switch that out with a couple fucking battery cells that maybe weigh 30 pounds, like
yeah. I mean, even if the weight is more there, I mean, if it's easier to get across or if it's easier to get them, or if they're just easier to maintain, even if they're more expensive and they're harder to obtain, but if in the field they're breaking less.
yeah.
And they're easier to store and transport. Like if you could just airdrop a pallet of batteries in.
That's what I was getting at. You can't really do that with fuel.
I don't know that they would be interchangeable though. If it's anything like how the Teslas and like whatnot have been designed, I don't think
You
good,
can just
bud?
pull out a battery cell and
I don't think it would be that easy, but I mean, like the Teslas, for example, the drivetrains on those things are rated for like 1 million miles.
Yeah, dude, it's fucking wild.
So if you got something similar to that on a tank, short of it getting blown up, right? I mean, the amount of
Maintenance cost goes way down.
your maintenance cost, even just having to have a soldier dedicated to worrying about that in the middle of a battlefield.
Well, like I think a lot of people don't realize too. Like, hey, guess what? In military bases, there are people that just go around and drive Hummers to make sure that they don't sit too long.
Correct.
Like, might not have to do that with like an electric one.
Nope, I get that.
You know, so it's like maintenance is way lower, upkeep's lower. Like, I don't know. Then again, I don't know how they fully designed it. So.
Staying on the train of technological things that are changing, so we've seen Musk and his Optimus program, his robot. Mercedes is now doing a similar thing to have robots in their auto factories doing the unskilled high labor task, right, to remove the human element out of that. I was like, that's interesting. So that's catching on.
Yeah.
Right? Again, started with Musk. We're seeing other companies start to do it, and if it didn't start with Musk, he was the first one to really make it big time public.
Yeah.
Right. The other one that caught my eye, though, is we've all kind of joked about Amazon using delivery drones for the longest time.
Yeah.
There's another company that's going to start doing that they're bringing to the United States, I think, in the not-too-distant future. DoorDash.
I could see that.
I think that
actually.
makes sense. But again, it's got to be a localized area. It's got to be a specific area that it's applicable to. Just have your drone drop your fucking Chinese food off.
Ah, God, I'd love that, actually. It'd be so fast.
I'm excited for the day that we as people, and we might not see it in our lifetime, but the day that we as people are able to automate work and we don't have to work anymore. And it's like, just, I don't know.
I think wholeheartedly there is always going to be a point where the humans are needed.
Mm-hmm.
So the age-old argument is someone's got to fix the machines.
Right.
But there are some things that you will never be able to remove the person from. I think we may be able to continue making things safer, right? I mean, especially you look at like the deep underwater welding and shit like that. Maybe we're able to make something where we can have a piloted robot go down there or something, but we still need the human judgment.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think we're ever going to get to a point where we can completely not be working, but I think our landscape like our role in it is
Yeah.
going to continue to change a lot.
Well, it's kind of like one of those things too, where like look at farmers now too, and they're harvesting and stuff like that. They're in the tractor, but the tractor's on a route.
Right.
You know, they're just there to make sure that something's not in the field they have to stop, or like, you know.
Or if a decision has to be made, then it's a human that's making that
Right.
decision.
You can kind of relax while it does its thing, but you're still there just in case. But it's, could you imagine having to do that for 14 hours, just drive in a circle in a field and pay attention? Like, sorry, that's mentally draining. Like,
Podcast.
yeah, like,
The stress load, I think, is definitely going to go down.
Right.
Once the technology is properly put in place
Right.
in the right industries, in the right roles, I think that it could definitely help to alleviate a lot of stress and workload.
Oh yeah, well I
Yeah.
believe in like 20 years, for example,
Well,
too.
I'm-
Like even
even just-
farming harvester things or whatever. Like
Yeah, just the elimination of menial labor in general.
you're right. Like mindless labor will no longer be needed.
Right, like you won't. Yeah, any job that you'd be looking at would be anything like either high functioning like office work or things like that, but that might even get encroached on by things like AI, depending on how that progresses in the
Yeah, it'll
future.
just be someone reviewing it rather than doing it.
Right, like I mean, theoretically, I mean, I've seen 1.5 million AI type apps out on the App Store, but it's like theoretically you could program an AI to just look through all your fucking records and, you know, just do all the fucking math and paperwork and spreadsheets and graphs and all the shit that your company normally does. And then, like you said, you just have a guy at the end that,
Oh, yep, these all match. Stamp.
yeah. Well,
That's
and
it.
then you have customer-facing industries too, and you saw it a little bit with like self-checkouts, but I mean, look at like the Amazon stores, where
Yeah.
you just walk in, take something off a shelf, and you're automatically charged.
Right, yeah. Which is actually kind of dope, though. That would be kind of nice.
I am more in favor of those than the monitored self checkouts that you see. And my big thing is because of an experience I had at Walmart. Yep, I'm gonna call you out, Walmart. We went and they've got
Walmart knows what they are.
They know what they are. They have their 2 rows of checkouts, and when possible, we go to the one that is closest to the end, so that I don't have to like wiggle my way out of everyone,
yeah.
right? So I'm getting a couple of garbage cans. Okay, scan, put them in there. This dude, I kid you not, their supervisor guy is standing 3 feet from me.
Right.
Even made a little bit of small talk. Okay, he watched me roll up and scan everything that I had. Bought, receipt, walked out, followed me to the door, then goes, "Sir, hey, I need to stop you real quick. Can I see your receipt and can I look inside of the trash bins?" Looked at him and I was like, "Sure. You didn't notice when I was standing 3 feet from you? Well, I need to double check everything. You wanted to let me walk all the way out to the fucking parking lot before
Isn't
you
that the thing? Once you stop like immediately and be
Right.
like, hey,
And that's just it. It's like you felt the need to make a scene about this, and you let me walk 50 feet to the door and start to get my keys and start to call my wife before you decided to stop me. If you want to double check that I didn't steal something, okay, cool, whatever. You're standing right next to me.
Do it back there.
Do it back there. Costco does a really good job of this. If they need to do something while you're checking out, the guy will walk up to you and be like, "Hey, man, I just got to check this real quick." Cool. I don't
yeah.
give a fuck, man. But you had to feel the need to make a scene.
see, that kind of, dude, I bet you when your back was turned, his manager's like, go check his garbage cans.
It's unfucking believable.
Yeah, I know.
Like-
Dude, no, the only reason I say that is because I've had to deal with that. I've had to be that guy.
Right.
The second, like, you would walk away, my manager would be like, "Do you check his garbage cans?" I'd be like, "No," and then I'd have to go, like, fucking find you.
Unbelievable.
It's fun, but I know what you mean, though. It's like you had to make a scene and make it all awkward and it's dumb.
Yeah.
Leave it to Walmart. It's a good business strategy, though. Just throw a bunch of shit in a building and just have people pick through it.
Well, that's the thing is like that's kind of where like, I mean, this self-checkouts and like this era of like the employee-less store, like the paperless office has only been around for like 5-6 years now.
Yeah.
And I mean, guys, like with the way that technology progresses, I wouldn't be surprised if we're looking down the barrel of that kind of society pretty soon. Probably when we hit our mid-40s, we'll probably start seeing that as like the commonplace.
Oh, the way things are accelerating right now, I wouldn't doubt it. Like,
Yeah, like I'm interested to see because there's a lot of like paradigm shifts happening.
Well, I think even just around the household, there's like basic shit too. Like, dude, I've seen robots that'll go pick up your dog shit. They'll like take cameras, focus on it,
Yep.
send a drone, get the dog shit, come back. There's ones that'll cut your lawn for you.
Yep.
They'll scrub your floors. They'll vacuum for you. I would say do dishes, but that's a dishwasher. So I don't know if that's the same thing, but it's kind of there.
What's
You
interesting?
can get a dishwasher with an arm.
Yeah, like that. See, that's
What's
puts
interesting?
it away too. Like,
What's interesting and where
Put it
I'm
on a
curious,
slide rail.
where I'm curious coming
Actually.
from a lot of things is you've got something that can do the job, but I want to know what margins companies are willing to accept as the drop in quality. Because you look at things like quality monitoring in the office or the employee list store and whatnot like that. It's like, yeah, the job can get done, But what quality are you sacrificing? What consumer experience are you sacrificing in the meantime because you want to save the money? So that's going to be really interesting to see that shift and how that user interaction happens. Because there's a couple of companies that I know of that are making the shift to a lot of AI and a lot of digitally automated and audited things, and the quality of the company suffers big time because of it, and it's noted by their consumers and by their employees. So it's like, now as a business, do you continue down this path and basically tell everyone like, well, if you don't like it, kick rocks, or do you scale back a teensy bit and try to find some kind of middle ground?
It depends on the company and the position the company holds. Because...
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I'm not looking for an answer.
Oh,
like,
no. I mean, for me, it's like a company like Apple or something that's like, or one of those like massive companies, they could probably tell people to just go kick rocks.
See, okay, here's
like it's changing, deal with it. But like if it's like a mom and pop or like a smaller scale operation, then they'll have to be more considerate. But there are definitely those like mega massive corporations that could be like, no, we're just changing our business model.
Corporations get to a size. Once you hit a certain size in a corporation, there's no failing.
Right.
That's the thing. Like, you can hell your fucking whatever. Like, Walmart can be like, fuck children, and we still shop there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like that's what I'm getting at. Like,
you're still gonna go there because they still have the shit you need.
Guess what? Walmart, yeah, they kick puppies. You're still gonna shop there, you cheap pieces of shit.
Yeah,
like, you know. So, but no, like, I guess it's like, yeah, you will take a drop in quality. And you know what's really weird, though, too, is like, I always used to joke how, like, oh, man, I'm so happy I don't have to deal with people when I go shopping. But it's really weird looking at it like, okay, I call on a phone, automated. Yep. I go to the store, I don't have to check out with anyone. If I have a question, I have to actually go and look for someone.
It's
like,
it's being isolated in a sea of people. It's very
right.
strange.
It's very, yeah. And I never really thought I'd have this issue, but I'm not saying that it's like haunts me, but it's just like something I kind of noticed where it's like...
It can be. And I mean, you and I have been, I mean, I have mine right now, but we don't see each other that often. But like, as largely single guys, I think we experience it a little bit more sometimes where it's like, yeah, you can go like a full, like, if you're not hanging out with your friends or something, you can go like a full month without having like a real conversation with somebody.
That's what I'm saying. Like, there's the superficial bullshit conversations,
right,
but not like a real conversation.
Yeah, because like you said, like you go to the doctor's office, you don't gotta check out with anybody. You go to the self checkout at the store.
Yeah.
You go
checked in online. Walk in. Nurse yells my name. Takes my height and weight. Sit with the doctor. Gives me my prescription for some drug to make me feel better. Then I go walking out into the lobby.
Yeah.
Then I go to my self-checkout, get a hamburger, cry about my high cholesterol, and then
you drive home alone.
And I drive home alone. Yeah, it's like...
What's interesting with all of that, though, is then now you've got a generation that has grown up with a cell phone and all this other technology in their pocket, right?
Right.
Is industries that still want a human as the employee. They want it for things like consumer experience and whatnot, to have that very hands-on approach. And these new generations have zero, and I mean fucking zero, soft skills. So
that I agree with.
They are just as bad, if not worse, than the robots and whatnot that you're dealing with. So then it's like, now you're borderline, you because of the isolations and whatnot that you guys just talked about, plus all the technology, people don't know how to behave around people. Mm-hmm. So then the jobs that are willing to pay them better, like what they want, they're not qualified for, or if they do get hired, they get fired because they don't know how to be a person.
Well, I think that's why we're in such a weird... This is like one of those transitions between like boomers to millennials to Gen Z. It's like we grew up with that human element still, but these guys, Zoom calls.
Correct.
Like, I saw 3 kids on a bike in the street, and I'm like, what the fuck are these hooligans up to?
Right.
And I'm like, oh, yeah, they're being kids.
They're just being fucking kids.
And that was weird. That shouldn't be a weird thing to see.
Well, and that's the other thing, too, is that we live in kind of, as far as the country's concerned, we kind of live in BFE. Like, so I can only imagine the extent in, like, true, like, cities and things like that.
Well, dude, like...
Not to shit on our hometown,
yeah,
but
well, I work around a bunch of kids and shit like that. Dude, they're on Zoom all the time, and they're like... It's weird, because that's how they hang out. Like, they don't... No human elements needed. That's just how they grew up with it.
I mean, fuck, even look at things like, even in our age group and our relationships, right? My wife and I will have date nights. We will do things as a family. We will hang out.
Right.
But, like, at night, if we've got one of our bullshit shows on that, like, it's just one of the background noise ones, what are we doing? We're both scrolling through our phones, and we're sending each other fucking memes back and forth 4 feet from each other.
Right.
Right? It's not even enough to go just flip your own phone and go, hey, look at this real quick. I've got to
it's like I had to send it to you. Yeah.
Right. So you have a whole generation that's all that they know how to do. Like, I did an interview some 3 fucking weeks ago. This kid had no idea anything about how to hold themselves in a professional setting. They didn't know how to sit. They didn't know how to talk. Literally in the interview was saying, bro, brah, just want to chill.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm like, this is a joke, right? Like, this person was dead ass serious about, like, this is how they talk. This is how they are a professional. And I'm like, this is scary.
Right.
Like,
I was a little happy when we got past with the boomers and, like, we can have tattoos and no one's in our shit. But, like, there's still a point of, like, there's an air of, like, come on, man. Like, you should know how to act in a business setting.
Correct.
Well, and it's
Like-
also like, dude, I know you're not that big of a piece of shit. Like,
Right.
tell me you're not, like...
This isn't, like, you to your core. Like, you can't...
but that's the scary part.
Is
Is
that
that
it is.
it is.
Yeah.
There is. It absolutely
like,
is.
Yeah, we all know we're not supposed to be that way. But, like, that, like... Work me and me are two very different things.
Correct.
And I think a lot of times people have to realize that.
Yep.
Like,
It's scary when you have someone in a professional setting that you let them know, like, hey, when you're done with this, take a second because then we have a meeting that we have to go to, or whatever the case is, and the response that you get, like, vocally, not even just through an IM or something like that, is, bruh, give me a sec, gotta hit the can, be right with ya.
yeah.
Witcha. I'm like, what?
After he gives a important presentation, he's just like, no cap.
Right.
Walks out.
And,
Like,
and it's just, it is scary.
but you know this. Here's the dumb part about it. Is this any different than how the boomers viewed us?
Yeah. My favorite thing about...
That's the part that gets me. I'm like,
Hold on real quick, Chris. Here's the thing I'm going to hit you with that on, though,
Yeah.
right, is at least, and maybe this is egotistical on my part on behalf of our generation, at least us to the boomers, we still could flip the switch. So you back to the farming thing, right?
Right.
Fine. You want me to put my phone down? I'll put my phone down, and I'll roll my sleeves up, and I'll do the hard work.
Right,
This generation doesn't know how to do that.
bro. Do you know how many people? Like, I know I always bring up the McDonald's shit, but like, do you know how many people I had to teach to sweep or just change a garbage?
Correct.
Like,
Correct.
I taught a grown man how to wash his hands once.
Right.
see, that's what I'm saying,
That is
dude.
scary.
Like,
You
these
should
people, these people exist in the world. Okay, I want to. There's people who don't like. How are you? You are in charge of a 2-ton death machine, and you don't know how to sweep. You don't know how a broom functions.
Well, and the thing is, too, is, like, there's so many people, and, like, I don't run across it too much in my job anymore, but, like, there are people that I come across where, like, I look at them, and, like, I know I'm not actually crying right now, but...
It's okay to get emotional.
I don't.
Real men cry.
Yeah, I know that. That's healthy. Fuck, where was I going? But no, there's sometimes I see these kids and it's like, and not to, again, not to like put myself up on a pedestal or something. I know I'm kind of generally aloof and detached from most things, but there are definitely times I look at these kids and I'm like, God damn, dude. Like, seriously?
Yeah.
Some of them are just stupid.
Well, and that's the thing is, like, do you need
just
someone
purely
to teach you?
stupid,
Do you need,
like-
like, a hand? Like, there are times when I see this shit, and I'm like, are you handicapped? Like, are you, like...
Is this a new disability I'm unaware of?
I had a kid one time. It was a different profession than what I'm in right now. That he was with our organization for quite some time. Loved him. He did some really good work, and all in all, was a pretty decent kid. He could walk that line between like millennial and Gen Z, right? So I was like, all right. And he went up for a different role within the company that was a little better for what he wanted to do. Homeboy didn't know how to dress. He got the thing saying, "Hey, please come formal."
Yeah.
And like he was like, "I don't know how to do that." And it was like, why was I the one at 26 years old at the time to show him how to tie a tie?
Right.
That I'm like, you're like 4 years younger than I am.
right. How
Why
do you
am
not know this?
Right? Why am
Yeah.
I the one teaching you how to tie a tie?
Well, and the other thing, too,
Am
is...
I just not that old? I'm not that old. Come on.
I like I like the whole generational disparity kind of thing because, like, the only people we could really blame, I mean, not us specifically, but is, like, our generation. Like, the same thing, like, when the boomers, like, I can't believe these goddamn millennials. And it's like, motherfucker, you raised us.
Yeah.
This is, like...
Hey, guess what we don't see anymore? Commercials asking where our kids are.
Yeah.
Don't act like you fucking were like hands-on parenting, bitches.
Well, and it's not even that, but it's like, don't act like this is just some weird anomaly that has no tie to you.
Well, I mean,
you raised us.
You did this.
I will give you that partially, because with how accelerated technology has come, there is no way, even for us as millennials, to keep up with how fast it has changed.
For sure.
You know, like, and I mean, you just look at the even like.
Bro,
from the,
I hate when I get a phone and then a month later a new phone comes out.
Oh, that's annoying.
Yeah,
but I mean,
like,
even from back to the parenting thing, right? The way that our parents parented us is what it is. We had a ton of time in the backyard because it was like, hey, go out there and play with a stick because I need you out of my hair.
Mm-hmm.
That was the resource that was available. Mm-hmm. We have things that are a little more accessible, so it's, hey, to my daughter, go watch this show if it's fucking -20 outside or whatever the case is, right?
Right.
The resources have become available, but for us, that resource wasn't made available till we were 15.
Mm-hmm.
Our kids, it's available at 7.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it is more normal now.
Mm-hmm.
Now, and again, me and you as parents is a little different. We have part of our parenting is detaching them, but some people use this technology as the parent.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the problem comes in.
Correct. And they're completely disassociated.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, well, if technology is going to do it for me, or if places like the Building for Kids down in Appleton, well, if I go there and I can just drop the kids and let them run rampant, then I don't have to watch it. I can shift the blame to someone or something else.
Right.
Dude, to me, it's kind of funny. Like, I can't talk because I don't have kids, but, like, I guess it's just funny to me watching, like, how much... It's almost like propaganda for the kids, those freaking shows they have. I have never seen, like my niece, for example, will hyper-fixate on a show.
Correct.
To the point where she doesn't even know where the fuck she is.
Yeah.
Like,
I catch Owen doing that sometimes.
Is it weird you out? You're
Yeah.
like, what the fuck?
I've never seen it from the outside coming in, but Owen likes playing with toys upstairs a lot, and he likes watching Paw Patrol.
Yeah.
And I'm like, cool, whatever. You know, when it's cold outside, we can't go hiking, things like that. We don't have, like, a group activity to do. The kids are largely independent.
Paw
But-
Patrol's legit.
Yeah, so
It is,
I
yeah.
walk up there once, and I open up the door to check on him, just see, like, do you want a snack? You doing good? You need anything? You need to go to the bathroom? Anything like that? And he's just full...
That's what I'm saying, dude. It's like, what the fuck?
And I'm like, is that how I look when I'm watching, like, The Sopranos?
Yes.
Right? You're just like,
But when you zoned out either at the beginning of this episode or the last episode, that's exactly what
that
Spence
is
and I
actually
were
kind of what it looked like.
Yeah.
But no, like, that's what I'm saying. It's just like, I've never seen kids get so just... I've never known anything to get a 5-year-old's attention like that.
Right.
Like, so I think these, like, algorithms or whatever are kind of getting a little...
They cracked the code on us. We were the testing phase.
Yeah.
They got it down.
They got that shit.
They got it down
Dude,
now. Like, we
Coco
were...
Melon is some, like, psyop Russian shit to brainwash.
Well, not even that, dude,
Like-
but even just, like, back to the psychology of advertising and stuff like that. Like, our generation was, like, the tester generation for, like, kids' cartoons and, like...
Yeah.
Did you know, and I've got to give the credit to my wife on this one, because I had no idea that this was a thing, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Even just the way that they make the shows. So, like, Bubble Guppy's really good example. Something about the frame rate.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's a lot of fast, upbeat, not necessarily strobing colors, but the way the content of the show itself catches your brain and keeps you locked in because you are hyper engaged to it. But then there are shows like Little Einsteins, Oswald. Remember fucking Oswald?
You remember Little Bear?
Little Bear, Curious George, where the frame rates are so much lower that it is actually better for your brain because it's not going a million miles an hour trying to keep up with every little thing. It helps you to focus on independent things at a time. I didn't know that was a fucking thing.
Well, and
Dude,
not
that's
to
fucked
sound
up.
like a
Like-
not to sound like a cinema snob or anything like that, but like when I pick like movie night movies for my kids, I'm usually looking for something with like either a moral or something that's really long. Like we've done The Hobbit, we've done
I was gonna say a moral as he like watches Smaug.
like never give up, stick with your friends. There's a lot of morals in The Hobbit.
Oh God, Chris.
And
Take the shot.
but we watch things that like, or like a lot of Miyazaki films or like Ghibli films where it's like, it's really beautiful art style, but you have to pay attention to it to understand what's going on.
Yeah, dude. Studio
Like
Ghibli's amazing. Yeah.
I try and introduce them to like really long form stuff to, help strengthen the attention span more.
Right. Have them learn to focus.
Yeah.
Obviously, we could keep going for hours and hours and hours about this particular conversation, but we're going to go ahead and wrap this one up, guys. Thank you so much for tuning into this talk. Let us know your thoughts down in the comments. And like Chris said in the very beginning, make sure you check out Dubby. Use our code WhatYouTake10 to get 10% off your order. And until next time, peace.
Out.